Yo, what's up? This is Koski Fun Day back at it once again. Dicking it for you and for yours. And I also like to thank my ancestors, for my ancestors credit and glory for giving me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to keep the focus on going on today, keep it pushing, keep it moving. I also like to thank you, the watcher, and the subscriber, getting a lot of love, getting a lot of feedback, and I appreciate that from both sides of the arguments, you know what I'm saying? So I greatly, greatly appreciate that, and got much love for that. This video right here is going to do the start about it's going to deal with the organizations of the 60s. Many organizations ain't talked about and discussed. And it's going to give a brief summary, a very brief, short summary of most of these organizations that came out during the 60s era. And what they was about and what they believed in. And especially the main big two, the US organization and the Black Panthers organization. We're going to mainly discuss about those two. And a couple others that don't give much credit like they should, like they deserve. Anywho, so let's get down to this. You know what I'm saying? The Black Art Movement, the Ghetto Uprising, and explosive African American identity developed a new generation of Black Power organizations and leadership. The blend between these leaders' organization and the deep consciousness of both African American nationality and racial oppression became amazingly strong in the context of the Black urban uprisings of the 1960s. The Ghetto Uprising of the 1960s marked a major climactic and Black revolt. During the first wave of the turmoil in 1960s, 329 major rebellions spread across 257 different cities. After its King fatal end in April 4th, 1968, there were more than 200 uprisings in 172 cities. Wave after wave of Black youth demanding local autonomy were galvanized by the Black Power slogan. Indeed, the movement was just not a battle cry. It was a practice of a marginalized community that transformed the walls of its prisons into the boundaries of its free state. A third wave of youthful activists joined the Black Power movement following the 500 racial confrontations in 1969. The racial confrontations were the most violent expression of ethnic conflict which shaped Black consciousness and spread the demand of African American self-determination. As the uprising spread from city to city, a new generation of Black Power organizations developed in their wake. Each of these organizations developed a distinctive perspective about the meaning of Black Power, and each experimented to test the effectiveness of its approach to Black liberation. Despite their different tendencies, these organizations share some fundamental in their political trajectories. Each established a common pattern. Each organization claimed to be the true heir of Malcolm X. Each organization concluded that Black America suffered as an eternal colony of the United States. Each demanded self-determination for the African American community. Furthermore, many of these groups embraced Black nationalism and later incorporated significant elements of Marxism. In the aftermath of August 1965 Watts Rebellion in LA, two rival political styles generated in California: the cultural nationalism of the US organization and the revolutionary nationalism of the very militant and controversial group, the DPP. In Los Angeles, Maria Karenga, formerly a young student activist, Ronald Everett, benefited from the phenomenon spread of the Black Arts Movement as he developed cultural nationalism, which became an influential political style of the Horse organization. Born in Maryland, during his youth, Karenga and his family migrated to California, where he learned African studies in several languages, including Swahili, at the University of California, and earned his MA degree in political science. He founded the US organization on September 7, 1965. The US organization consisted that African Americans create a cultural nation in need of a Black cultural revolution as well as Black power. Influenced by the political ideology in the style of Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam, Karenga's organization was named US as opposed to them, stressing self-determination and self-reliance and Black freedom. The application of US has a denotation parallel of the Irish national groups Sinn Féin, meaning ourselves alone, the rally cry of the 1916 Easter Revolt. Sidebar, everybody should watch the 1916 Easter Revolt and what the Irish did to the British. You know what I'm saying? That's a good sidebar about how to get a revolution started. And even if the British crushed it, how the Irish kept it going. It's a very, very good forethought about that. So watch and maintain. Early in the promotion of the US organization, Karenga posed that African Americans learn Swahili. On one hand, impressed and inspired by Malcolm X's ethical reconstruction in the Nation of Islam, Karenga considered him a cultural revolutionary who almost solitarily altered the way Black people thought about themselves. On the other, he emphasized the need for a Black cultural revolution, guiding Black America towards 7 principles. 1, Black unity. 2, self-determination. 3, collective work and responsibility. 4, collective economics. 5, the intent of the nation building. 6, intent of the nation building. 6, in the creativity and credence and triumph of freedom of Black freedom. As a segment of his cultural program, Karenga developed a popular African-American holiday, Kwanzaa, to teach the 7 principles during a week-long celebration of Black patrimony. Kwanzaa today is celebrated by a considerable number of African Americans. As part of its political program, the US organization organized Black Congress, an important unified front group encompassing many of new military organizations in Los Angeles. Malinga Karenga influence spread quickly because of his role in the organization of National Black Power Conference between 1966 and 1969. Finally, as part of the US organization ideological program, Karenga established a doctrine for New Black Nationalism, which he labeled Kawadia, meaning tradition and reason. Karenga met Huey Newton and Bobby Seale in a study circle in the early 1960s. While the US organization Cultural Nationalism emerged in Los Angeles, Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale developed revolutionary nationalism as a forceful political style of the Black Panther Party in Oakland. Actually, Newton and Seale were not the first Black Panthers. Let me read that again. Actually, Newton and Seale were not the first Black Panthers. There were earlier groups organized by the Revolutionary Action Movement, RAM, and the aftermath of the Student Nonviolent Coordination Committee, SNCC, voting right experiments in Lowndes County, Alabama, which led to Stokely Carmichael in 1965, 1 year before the Black Power slogan emerged, and the independent Lowndes County Freedom Organization stood up to white terror in the Deep South, using Panther style and using a panther to symbolize its defiance. A number of Black activists from northern cities provided material support for the self-defense of Lowndes County Black Panthers and asked Stokely Carmichael if they could form Black Panther organization in their urban centers. Subsequently, Black Panther groups developed in Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. In New York, alongside Eddie Ellis, Ted Wilson, Donald Washington, and Walter Ricks, one of the leaders of the Harlem Panthers was Larry Neal, a co-founder of the Black Arts Repertory Theater School. In July 1966, with public backing of Stokely Carmichael, the Harlem Party established its headquarters and opened the Malcolm X Liberation School. 12 Panthers were arrested in September 1966 in Harlem during a school boycott. It was a first direct action campaign. Their membership estimated at 100. The Black Panthers in communication with San Francisco with Robin F. Williams, the exiled leader of RAM in Cuba. When the Watts uprising was over, Huey Newton and Seale started to examine the need of a new kind of organization of their own in Oakland. Those exchanges generated the founding of the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense in October 1966. Although Black Panther organizations emerged in other cities before the Oakland Panthers, the revolutionary grassroots of the party, established by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, quickly developed a militant stand who actuated them into the forefront of the Black Revolt. The determined political style of the well-known Oakland Black Panther Party soon overshadowed the earlier Panthers in New York and San Francisco. Instead of forming a new value system in the manner of the US organization, the Black Panthers introduced and put out in force a 10-point program claiming an end to outrageous and defiant police aggressiveness and capitalist exploitation, as well as a right to full employment, decent housing, meaningful education, military exemption, and Black self-determination. The 10 points. The points elucidate that the principal political purpose of the United Nations, managed by a plebiscite to be held throughout the Black colony, in which only Black colonial subjects would be able and allowed to take part, with objections of deciding the will of Black people as their own national destiny. Eventually, the debate between Hume's revolutionary nationalism and Karinga cultural nationalism became a major characteristic of the ideological combat over the management of the Black Power movement. Equivalent process developed between the 1967 Detroit Revolt. In 1968, the Republic of New Africa, the RNA, and the League of Revolutionary Black Workers, LRBW, rose. The Republic of New Africa, led by Amiri Bakara, asked for land to create an African American nation in the Deep South. However, the LRBW matured into a Black Marxist organization. The League was a fulfillment of several Black revolutionary unions and insurrections, especially in the automobile industry. For instance, the Ford Revolutionary Movement and the Dye Revolutionary Movement. In the 1970s, some more of the rural radical adherents of the LRBW built a Marxist-Leninist organization called the Black Workers' Congress, the BWC, announcing that African Americans was an oppressed nation in the Black Belt South and demanding the right of self-determination. As a consequence of the urban rebellions, a new generation of Black Power organizations developed a radical leadership demanding Black self-determination and generating four essential political styles: Marxism, revolutionary nationalism, territorial nationalism, and cultural nationalism. The most extensive expressions of Black powers in the 1960s were cultural, and leading figure in the maturing politics of the cultural nationalism was Amiri Bakara. Parallel to the BPP and the LRBW, Bakara Congress of African people unfolded from Black nationalism to the Third World Marxism. The movement contrasts by following a separate political paths through the politics of the cultural nationalism in Newark. Amiri had developed in the revolts of July 1967 a political and cultural awareness of an axiom of self-determination, drawn from his acquaintance with Fidel Castro, the Cuban Revolution, Malcolm X, and the Organization for African American Unity, generating from the development of Black consciousness, Black determination, in this way included a process of self-emancipation. However, just as the process was spanned out in the Black Power period was vague. Even before the New York Revolution insurrection, Bakara searched for answers to these intriguing questions about Black liberation. What kind of ideology or organization would be suitable for a Black revolution? What combination of nationalism and socialism would be right for Blacks in the USA? While teaching in 1967 at San Francisco in the first Black Studies program in America, Bakara gave heed to the development of militant organizations in California, attempting to learn where his Harlem experiment had failed. Inspired by the discipline of the Panthers and the US organization, Bakara returned to New York more assured about establishing a new Black Panther protest organization based on those West Coast patterns. And we're going to stop right there. You know what I'm saying? This is when the book, I should study the book beforehand, but African American nationals, intellectuals, and Black culturalism between 1965 and 1975, Amiri Bakara. And as you see, there's many groups up in there that we had back in the 1960s in the grassroots level, you know, fighting for different things, fighting for the same things, but taking different paths to get there. You know what I'm saying? Names of groups are the Black Panther Party, the LRBW, which is the League, which is the League of what? Let's see what it's called. The League of Revolutionary Black Workers. You know, they had it in the Ford plant. They had it in the Dodge plant in Dodge, Maine. Places like that. They had their own Congress. The Republic of New Africa, led by Amiri Bakara. The Republic of New Africa, at the pen of the Black Power movement in the late 60s, was brothers Milton and Richie Henry, acquaintances of Malcolm X, who renamed themselves Gadi Odeli and Amiri Bakari Odeli, respectively, assembled a group of 500 militant Black nationalists in Detroit to discuss the creation of a Black nation within the United States. On March 31st, 1968, 100 Congress members signed the Declaration of Independence, outlining the official doctrine of the new Black nation, and selected a provincial government, and named the name of the nation Republic of New Africa. So it's an independence kind of, we gotta get out there and look at this Declaration of Independence and a provisional government. Started by Milton Henry and Richard Henry. One of the guys, I think it's Milton Henry, that was Malcolm X's lawyer. A big, powerful guy in Detroit. He's a lawyer from Malcolm X. So these are a couple groups that was going on during the 60s. You know what I'm saying? That was a Black nationalism. But the thing that kind of crept in to me that kind of messed it up was the Marxism. You know, Marx wrote for his people. He didn't write for Black people. You know, but the generating, like as a consequence of the urban rebellions, a new generation of Black power organizations developed a radical leadership demanding Black discrimination and generating four essential political styles: Marxism, which hasn't gotten us nowhere; revolutionary nationalism; territorial nationalism, which NRA was about; revolutionary nationalism, which the Black Panther Party was about; territorial nationalism, which the Republic of New Africa about; and cultural nationalism, which the US organization about. So it was just one of those type of paths there that you had to take. Anyway, and also too that identified, and I'm glad that this paper really identified it, this book identified it, saying that Huey Newton and Bobby Seale were not the first Black Panther parties. They were not the first Black Panthers, so they really can't put a claim on it like that, like they want to. They took it for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? If you want to name somebody famous that was the first Black Panther, name Stokely Carmichael. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Name Stokely Carmichael, you know what I mean? So we can go from there, from that and there. They didn't get themselves turned until October 1966. There was already Black parties all over the country. But because they was more vocal and more on the attack plan with theirs in Oakland, dealing with the environment, the situation, the condition of the environment there in Oakland, they got the credit. You know what I'm saying? They just should be just as the most well-known. They shouldn't get the credit of starting the Black Panther Party. Anywho, this is Akoski Funny saying what's up. Much love to you and yours. Subscribe to the channel. We back dropping Black history like this every day, all day. Peace, and hit the like button.